Hi Mike, hi Thrive. Congratulations on this birth of a new kingdom venture for you. Congratulations on your very existence, and I feel kind of privileged to have a very small role to play at such an early stage of your church's existence. So, wow, I pray that God blesses everything that is ahead for you. Well, welcome to my study and my little studio, and this is my home for the last 8 years in Oxford, the United Kingdom. Like Mike, I'm an Australian boy originally. Never was my plan to come to the UK, and that's kind of part of the story of the making of us that you're looking into. Thought you might like a bit of a background to the book, a bit of a background as to how it was written, where it came from. Some years ago, I wrote a predecessor to this book called Resurrection Year, Turning Broken Dreams into New Beginnings, and it was all about my wife and I starting again after infertility, not being able to have a family. For 10 years we tried, didn't work, nothing worked in the end. As a result of that book, I got about 300 odd emails, very detailed stories of people telling me about their broken dream. Now, for some, like us, it was not being able to have a family. For others, it was not being able to have a second child or a third. That's just as much grief. For some, it wasn't being able to get married in the first place. Mr. or Mrs. Right hadn't come along. For others, it was not being able to get the career they dreamt of, or their art hadn't kind of broken into the mainstream. For others, they had the dream career and they lost it. For somebody else, it was illness. So I ended up getting all these really detailed stories from readers telling me about where they're at now. And there was a subtle message through each one of them. Some of it was overt, but most of it was subtle. Basically, they were saying through those stories, now that this broken dream has happened, I no longer know who I am or why I'm here. Now that resonated with me because I was feeling just the same way. I moved here to the United Kingdom from Sydney, really because my wife got a gig at Oxford University, which is a pretty good gig to get. But I never wanted to leave Sydney. I loved my life in Australia. For the last 15, 20 years, I had very clear understanding as to who I was and what I was doing. I was a writer, speaker, broadcaster. And I was here to write, speak and broadcast and to share the gospel, particularly with spiritually interested mainstream secular folks. But when I came to the UK, those doors were closing. So writing, went to publishers here in the UK and they turned me down with my book ideas and my book projects, and they said, who are you? Nobody in the UK knows who you are, they're not going to buy your books. One publisher said, come back to us when you're famous. Great advice, I'll do that until next Thursday and I'll come back to you then. Great. So that door was closed. Speaking, nobody knew who I was. I wasn't being invited to speak at conferences and events like I was in Australia. That was closing. Broadcasting. In Australia, I was hosting a national radio show which itself had been a 10-year dream come true. I got to host it for 5 years, then we came over here and the BBC weren't returning my phone calls. So something that I'd built my life on, writing, speaking, broadcasting, was now no longer available to me. Who was I beneath those identities? That was the question I had. And what was I to do now? Was I to keep on pushing on those doors, trying to make them happen, or what? So that's what the background is to the making of us, who we can become when life doesn't go as planned. It's based on a pilgrimage my friend and I made from a little island in the north of England called Lindisfarne, really the birthplace of Christianity here, and making our way down to Durham. And my friend DJ and I talking about these things and kind of raising questions of each other, and then all sorts of, that pilgrimage was like 8 days or something. It took me another 4 years of writing and reflection and research to make sure I wasn't giving people, those 300 readers and you and me, cliches about who we can become when life doesn't go as planned. So I hope you'll see that in the book. I hope it doesn't give you cliches or platitudes. I hope it stimulates a discussion amongst you about how we can actually become our real selves during these times of upheaval. And actually, as a result, under the hand of God, the God who is the Redeemer, we can actually see our greatest contributions made to the world. Those are the two key messages of the book. I really hope you enjoy the book. I hope your discussion goes well. I can't wait to hear what results. Do let me know. Thanks so much, Strive. I'll see you soon.